root again. Hey, my name is Dev. I've been a serious guitarist for over 3.5 decades. I would like to help you improve on this instrument. And today's video is going to be all about playing over chord changes, specifically using an exercise that I call interval targeting. It's much more of like a mental exercise than it is a mechanical one. And if you're not quite sure how to play over some chord changes, this should be able to help you out. Now, we're going to start with a really simple chord progression here. It's just D minor. That's a much better tone. D minor and C major. And I'm going to use my looper pedal to keep this progression going in the background. And now I've got my basic chords going. Interval targeting necessitates that you know the notes for the chords over which you're playing. So D minor, D, F, and A. C major is going to be E, C, E, and G. The root, the third, and the fifth, respectively. Your basic triad for these chords. If you've got more complex chords, you'll have more options. But we're just going to stick right now to the basic triads in these chords to get things started. Now all we're going to do is target one of those intervals every time we reach one of these chords. So let's start by targeting just the roots. That's the lowest hanging fruit. Very basic stuff. And if you haven't done that yet, like that's a really great place to start. Is just targeting the roots of the chords as you're moving over them, playing within the key. In this case, we're in the key of D minor. So I'm playing just the scales in D minor and just targeting the C note on top of the C and the D note on top of the D chord. So the next thing we can do is, of course, and I wouldn't even call that phase one of this. There's 3 phases here, but I would call that phase 0, right? So phase 1 is going to be targeting not just the root, but we're going to target a different one, a different interval each time the chord progression starts. So we'll start with the root, and then we'll rotate to the third the next time the chord progression starts over, and then the fifth, etc. So roots first. Now thirds. Fifths. And then back to the roots. And thirds. We can keep moving. So I would call that phase 1 of this. It's a really great place to get to if you haven't quite gotten to the point where you can do that yet with your playing. You're kind of intermediate to advanced player, but you're not quite sure how to play over chord changes. That's going to be one of the great places where you've got a really great map for how to play over pretty much any chord change. So that was a really simple 6/5 chord progression, and it's going to work on top of that. But I'm going to put a bunch of other chord progressions up over here. Feel free to take a screen cap and try using those and playing along with this, using this technique sometimes. Because phase 1 is a really great place to be with your playing. So up next, we're going to use a backing track in Logic Pro using its Studio Players feature. If you're interested in this, the next video in the Winter Woodshed here is actually going to be on how to set up one of these. It can actually be super helpful, specifically for practicing stuff like this. So we're going to be in the key of D major, and we're going to have a chord progression of D major, E minor 7, G major 7, and B minor 9. So the backing track's going to sound like this. If I hit play correctly, it'll sound like this. There we go. So in phase 1, what we would be doing is just playing the roots as we get to each one of the chords. We'll land on the root note of the chord. So I'll land on B for B minor, and then play within the key all the way. Start again with D. It's the root note here. E, and then G. And then the next time through, we'll focus on the thirds. last time we'll do the fifths. Let me go back to the root. And that works. It's a great place to start. But to kind of expand this, and not just extend it, but to kind of expand the concept here, what we're going to do now is rotate through the root, the third, and the fifth each time we switch chords. We're not going to wait until the progression restarts. So on top of the D, I'll be playing the first time through, on top of the D, I'll be playing the root, D. And then when I get to the E minor 7, I'll be playing its third. And then the fifth of G. And then the root of B minor. And then the third, fifth, root, etc. So it's going to take a little bit more concentration to do this. So one of the things that's great about using a backing track like this is right now I'm playing at 125 BPM. I'm going to bring that down to like 110 so I can get used to this. I think it feels good at 125, but let's bring it down. Let's bring it down to like 105, something like that. So I've got a little bit more time to get my cognitive acrobatics up to this pace, and then I'll move it up to the final one. So we'll start again with the root, third, fifth. We'll be rotating through those intervals. Root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth, and we're going to rotate to the next interval each time we switch chords here. So you can think of this as being able to move through this kind of matrix of notes and their intervals and being able to target a specific interval as something like lifting weights or doing some conditioning or even doing layups or practicing layups or free throws or rolling up to a big jump before you ollie down it, before you try a kickflip down it, etc. If you're skateboarding. These are drills that will help you be more prepared when it's time to actually do the thing and play the match or something like that. So keep that in mind. For our third and final phase, at least for this video of interval targeting, what we're going to do is use a longer chord progression and introduce at least one chord that is outside of the diatonic. Now, as a quick aside, if you aren't quite sure which chords can be used outside of the diatonic and still sound pretty good, check out my video on the modal interchange starter kit from my first season here on YouTube. I'll put a card up here and a link in the description. That'll get you started on this. But basically, we're going to be in G major. Let me use more rhythm sound. And then our 4, which would normally be C major, we'll make that a C minor. So instead of the Lydian there, I'm going to use the Dorian. Again, check out that video for more information. And then A minor, which would be our 2, and D major, which would be our 5. All together, that'll look like this. It'll sound like this. G major, C minor, A minor, and D major. So I'm going to use the same interval targeting with which I started in phase 2. So I'm going to go root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth. I'm going to keep rotating in that direction. And yeah, again, that C minor is outside of the diatonic, so it's going to cause a little bit of mental challenge for me here. Let's see what happens. We'll start up on the root when we get to our 1. To the 3 of C minor. 5 of A. Root. 3. 5. root again. Three. Back to the 5. And then we'll just keep continuing. And it really can challenge you to come up with new and interesting ways to use like the scales that you already know and the parts of the guitar that you already know. I really am trying to make the videos that I wish existed while I was learning. So if you found this useful, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out, because this is only video 3 in my second season of content here. I'm calling it The Winter Woodshed. And in the description is a link to sign up on my email list. That'll get you immediate access to the Guitar Chord Survival Kit PDF, which the second edition of which is coming out very, very soon. So yeah, I hope you found this helpful and enjoyable. Keep jamming out there, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.